Would it be fair to say, in a strange sense, markets at least, or businesses don't care as much? And when I say that, I mean, for example, look at crude prices. So many events, and crude prices are not moving, perhaps because they're looking at long-term demand impact, etc. Markets are still fine. U.S. markets are still fine, penciling in rate cuts, and that becomes the big pivot. Why do you think so?
Well, first of all, I don't accept the general view that the markets don't care. I think that inflation is higher and stickier today than a lot of people predicted because of the impact of the disruptions of these geopolitical forces, the real and the potential. That definitely is factoring in. You hear that from Powell, from the Fed. You hear that from the IMF and Kristalina Georgieva. You hear that from Lagarde of the ECB. Across the board, there are real geopolitical concerns that are factoring in. They're not going away. For oil price specifically, we now have prices around low 80s, which definitely does not reflect a geopolitical premium. Why? Well, one, the United States, has basically become an exporter, right? I mean, massive record levels of American crude production, LNG production, making life a lot easier. Secondly, a lot of excess refining capacity in China right now, and demand is not massive around the world. So you put that together, and a couple million, 3 million plus barrels that are not on the market from OPEC. There's lots of capacity to respond to significant geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and in Russia, with refining capacity getting hit by the Ukrainians. In both of those cases, unless the wars get significantly worse, there's no reason for those oil prices to go up.
Okay. So you're saying the impact is not perhaps seen yet. Let me come to the other part.
No, it's not being seen in oil. It is being seen in inflation. That's what I'm saying.
Despite that, the assumption now is, on a very optimistic level, 2 rate cuts by the end of the year, perhaps 1 in September at least. Do you think that that's too optimistic?
The markets are now closer in line with what Eurasia Group's projections were at the beginning of this year. We were very surprised with how optimistic the markets were, with significant multiple rate cuts over the course of the year. A lot of the banking projections were incredibly just priced for perfection, implied that nothing was going to go wrong significantly on the geopolitical space, and not just in terms of conflict and war, but also in terms of the Americans, the Europeans, export controls, tariffs, all the rest. All of these are challenging for the global economy. All of these have macro implications. We now feel we're now more in line with where the markets are today. There's considerably more caution in the marketplace today than there was 6 months ago.
So a rate cut in 2024 or not, or maybe early 2025?
I'm not a market watcher, but our economists and our geoeconomic team basically think 1 rate cut for the rest of the year is roughly what they're pricing in.